Okay. Hypothesis testing about single proportion. Now, parameter of interest, population proportion. P is the population proportion. Okay. We have to assume the level of significance alpha. Now, for two-tailed test, P should be assumed proportion and P should not be PA. So, what is PA? PA is assumed proportion. Okay. Now, for left-tailed test, PA is equal to PA, P is less than PA. For right tail test, P is equal to PA and alternative P greater than PA. Okay. So after that we have to calculate the Z-cal. Now under the null hypothesis, the test statistic is Z calculated is small p by capital P 1 minus P by n. Okay. Now example, in a sample of 1000 people in a state, 540 are rice eater. Okay. Example, 540 are rice eater and rest are wheat eater. Can you assume that both rice and wheat are equally popular in the state at 1% level of significance? So here n is equal to 1000, number of rice eater 540, proportion of rice eater 540 by 1000, that is 0.54. Okay. Now null hypothesis, P is equal to 0.5. That means both rice and wheat are equally popular. Okay. And P is not equal to 0.5 means rice and wheat are not equally popular. Now under the null hypothesis, the statistic is Z-cal is P by capital P 1 minus P square root of n. So capital P is 0.5. So 0.54 proportion of rice eater minus 0.5 1 minus 0.5 by 1000. Okay, and the value is 2.532. Okay. Now alpha is 1%, that means assume alpha is equal to 1%, that is 0.01. okay, it is two-tailed test, so minus 2.58 plus 2.58 and our value is 2.532. it is less than 2.58 and more than, which is in this range, so do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, next. Second question. 20 people were attacked by a disease and only 18 are survived. So 20 people were attacked by disease and only 18 are survived. So surviving rate is what? 18 by 20. Will you reject the hypothesis that the survival rate if attacked by this disease is 85% in favor of that? The hypothesis that it is more. Okay, so null hypothesis is what? Proportion is 0.85. okay, and alternative height is more than 0.85. okay, since the question is that what is right tail test, actually the question, see the question, will you reject the null hypothesis that the survival rate if attacked by the disease, this disease is 85% in favor of that hypothesis that it is more. Okay, so it is more means it is right tail test. Okay, so proportion of the personal survival in the sample is 18 by 20, that is 0.90. okay, so null hypothesis is this, alternative hypothesis is this. Under H0 the test statistic is Z calculated is P by P my capital minus P by minus small p minus capital P 1 minus P by n. So small p 0.90, capital P 0.85. Okay, small p is the sample proportion, okay, and capital P is the population proportion. So it is capital P 0.85, 1 minus 0.85 by 20. Okay, so if you solve it, answer is 0.33. Okay, let alpha is 0.05, level of significance is 0.05, and since it is right tail test, okay, so z 0.05, the critical value is 1.645. okay, so we can see the table. In this particular table, if alpha is equal to 5%, then the for right tail test the critical value is 1.645, and our calculated value test statistics 0.633, so the value will be somewhere here 0.633. so do not reject the null hypothesis. Reject the do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so conclusion is do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, next question. A student claimed that he solved 80% problem correctly. A random sample of 40 problems showed that only 30 problems are correct. Test his claim at 5% level of significance. Okay, so population proportion is P, alpha is equal to assume 5%, null hypothesis P is equal to 0.80, and alternative hypothesis 0.80 less than. Under statistic, Z calculation is what? 0.75. So what is 0.75? So he solved 30 problem out of 40. So he solved 30 problem out of 40. That's why 0.75 is the sample proportion minus population proportion. So 0.8, 1 minus 0.8 by 40, the value is minus 0.7911. okay, so it is left tail test. Okay, it is left tail test. So and alpha is equal to 5%, so minus 1.645, and our value is minus 0.7911. so it is in acceptance region, so do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, next, test of significance for difference of proportion. Difference of proportion. So steps, parameter of interest P1 and P2, two population proportions are there, level of significance alpha. For two tail test, P1 is equal to P2 and P1 is not equal to P2. For right tail test, P1 is equal to P2, P1 is greater than P2. For left tail test, P1 is equal to P2 and P1 is less than P2. So this is two tail test, this is right tail test, this is left tail test. Okay, next, Z under 80, the Z statistic is P1 minus P2 by capital P 1 minus P 1 by N1 plus 1 by N2, and P is the full estimate of the population. So here we have write N1 P1 plus N2 P2 by N1 plus N2, that is nothing but x1 plus x2 by N1 plus N2. Okay. Now, question. Solution. Random sample of 400 men and 600 women were asked. So male, women, men, men and women. 400 men and 600 women were asked whether they would like to watch a movie after this exam, after their exam. 200 men and 350 women, 325 women were in favor of the proposal. Favor of the proposal. Okay. Test the hypothesis that proportion of men and women in favor of the proposal are same, against that they are not. Okay. So null hypothesis is P1 is equal to P2 and alternative is P1 is not equal to P2. Assumes proportion of men is P1 and proportion of women is P2. Level of significance, it is 5%. Okay. Now proportion of men favoring the proposal is 400, 200 by 400, that is 0.5, and proportion of female in favor of the proposal is 325 out of 600, that is 0.541. Now pool estimate is what? X1 plus X2 by N1 plus N2. So what is X1? X1 is this one. What is X2? This is X2. What is N1? This is N1 and this is N2. So 200 plus 325 by 400 plus 600, that is 0.525. Okay. Now Z statistic is 0.5 minus 0.541. Okay, 0.525. The formula already you know. P into 1 minus P. 1 minus P, 0.525. 1 by 400 plus 1 by 600. And if you solve it, you can get the value minus 1.269. Okay, it is two-tailed test. Minus 1.96 plus 1.96. This particular statistic is in between the range, okay, acceptance range. So do not reject the null hypothesis. That means proportion of male and proportion of female, proportion of men and proportion of female women is same. They are same. Next. In a large city A, 20% of a random sample of 900 school children had defective eyesight. Okay, so sample size is 900, proportion is 20%, that is 0.20. In other city B, 15% of a random sample of 600 children, proportion is 15%, that is 0.15, had the same defect. Is this difference in the population proportion significant? Okay. Null hypothesis, P1 is equal to P2, alternate P1 is not equal to P2. So what is P1? Population proportion of A, P2 population proportion of B. So pooled estimate, so here P1 and P2 is there. So N1 P1 N2 P2 by N1 plus N2. So what is N1? 900. What is P1? 0.20. What is N2? 1600. What is P2? 0.15 divided by N1 plus N2. N1 is 900 plus N2 is 1600. Okay, so its value is 0.168, and 1 minus P is what? 1 minus 0.168, that is 0.832. Now under 80, the test statistic is what? 0.20, 0.15, 1 point minus 1, 0.168 into 0.832, 1 by 900 plus 1 by 1600, and the value is 3.21. Level of significance is 5%, minus 1.96 plus 1.96. okay, so the value is 3.32. it is here. So this is acceptance region, so somewhere here 3.2, and reject the 80. Okay, next, test of significance. A random sample of 100 customers who watched the advertisement X, 20 tried the product. Okay, so for product X, for this particular advertisement, 20 tried the product out of 100 customers. In a random sample of 150 customers who watched the advertisement Y, 38 tried the product. 38 tried the product. Does this indicate that advertisement Y is more effective than advertisement X with 1% level of significance? Okay, so null hypothesis, mu1 is equal to mu2, and alternative hypothesis mu1 is greater than mu2. Clear? So pooled estimate is what? Here 220 plus 30 divided by 100 plus 150, and the value is 0.23232. P1 is x1 by n1, that is 0.2, and P2 is x2 by n2, that is 38 by 150, that is 0.2533. Yeah. So under the under the 80, the statistic is what? 0.20 minus 0.2533. Okay, so here should be P1, sorry, P1, P2, and here it is 0.232, 1 minus 0.232, 1 by n1, 100 plus 150. The value is minus 0.9797. Alpha is equal to 1%. Clear? And it is left tail test. The value is minus 2.33, and calculated value is 0.9797. So do not reject standard deviation. Or hypothesis testing of difference of standard deviation. Okay, now population standard deviation, sigma 1, sigma 2, level of significant alpha. For two-tailed test, sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2, h1 sigma 1 is not equal to sigma 2. For left-tailed test, sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2, h1 is sigma 1 is less than sigma 2. For right-tailed test, sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2, and h1 sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. Under the null hypothesis, this statistic is what? S1 minus S2. So what is S1? S1 is the sample statistics for population 1. Okay. And what is S2? Sample statistic of second population. Okay. Now, question. Random sample drawn from two colleges C1 and C2. C1 and C2. Give the following data relating the weights of the first year male student. Number of student 100, mean weight 76, and standard deviation 4.5 kilogram. Okay. And college 2, in 2 is 140, mean weight 69 kilogram, and standard deviation 4 kilogram. Is the difference between the standard deviation significant at 5% level of significant? Parameter of interest sigma 1 and sigma 2, level of significance as 5%. H0 is equal to sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2. H1 is what? Sigma 1 is equal not equal to sigma 2. Okay. Now under the Z statistic, under the H0, the Z statistic is 4.5 minus 4.0 divided by 4.5 square, 2 into 100 plus 4.0 square, 2 into 140. Okay. And if you solve it, the value is 1.2565. Okay. Alpha is equal to 5%, and the statistics, the calculated value is 2.65, 1.2565. Hence, do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay. Next, random sample. Next problem. Random sample drawn from two countries give the following data relating to the heights of adult male. Okay. Country A, country B. Mean height 67.42. Mean height 67. Standard deviation 2.58. Standard deviation 2.50. Okay, so random sample drawn from two countries gave the following data relating to the heights of adult male. So mean height 67.41 for country A, mean height 67.25 for country B. Standard deviation 2.58 for country A, standard deviation 2.50 for country B. Sample size 1000, sample size 1200. Question is the difference between the standard deviation significant? Okay, so null hypothesis sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2, alternate sigma 1 is not equal to sigma 2. Level of significance assume 5%. Okay. Now Z statistic, under null hypothesis, the Z statistic is S1 minus S2 by S1 square by 2n1, S2 square by 2n2. Okay. So 2.58 minus 2.50, S1 square 2.58 square by 2 into 1000 plus 2.50 square by 2 into 1200, and the value is 1.03. Okay, so alpha is equal to 5%. Critical values Z alpha by 2, Z alpha by 2 minus 1.96 plus 1.96. The statistic is 1.03. It will be somewhere here 1.03. So in this particular region, so do not reject the null hypothesis. Do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, and that is the end of this particular video.